What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. It is technically Hangover Tuesday. We are licking our wounds after the first loss of the season. Again, I personally am not terribly upset about the way that game went. Some people are going to be upset about it, though. I mean, it's a loss, right? It's always a loss. Never fun to lose. You'd always rather win. But we got some stuff to talk about regarding that game last night, so we are going to go ahead and get started with the weekly videos. I think you guys know what these ones are all about. We're starting off with Snap Count Monday. Snap Count Monday speaks for itself. We take a look at the snap counts for a lot of the players on the team, and we just kind of pull apart what it means, if we can derive any particular meaning from any of these numbers. You guys know the drill by now. So let's just go ahead and get right into it, starting with the offense. And first of all, let's highlight this. 90 offensive plays. 90 offensive plays run by the Seahawks. In a game where there were 0 Detroit Lions turnovers and what were there, like 3 punts, right? That's pretty great. That tells you how good the offense was last night. Now, some of this is going to admittedly be a little bit skewed because Detroit was also so efficient at scoring quickly that Seattle could get the ball back really quickly, even without the turnovers and without the punts. So we're not completely thrilled about it, but 90 offensive plays in a game. I mean, there's something to take away there positive for sure. Okay, so looking at the splits, you can see that Ken Walker and Charbonnet was almost even, which some people are really going to like, and I don't mind it either, especially in that game where I thought both players played well. I do think that as Walker gets to 100% health, he will probably become the featured back, and Charbonnet will become more of a clear backup. But for this game, you can see Walker gets 53 snaps and Charbonnet gets 38. So that's pretty close to even. It is interesting to note that now that we have both guys back, there's nothing in the offense left for McIntosh, which that just speaks to a lack of confidence in him, I guess. Because you got 90 plays. You had 90 plays you ran last night offensively, and not one of them involves Kenny McIntosh. That speaks to just a complete lack of confidence in him, I guess. And I don't get it, but I got to go with it because it's not like we can say the offense was bad last night. Like, they found a way. Okay, wide receiver now. And again, we see a pretty smooth mix here. Metcalf with 73 snaps, or JSN with 76, and Lockett with 64. So in terms of percentage, it's kind of in line with what you would expect. No receiver is going to play 90% of the snaps in this offense. There were plenty of plays where you saw at least one, if not two receivers of the top 3 sitting out for a play or two. I think mostly to give them rest, but also just because we want to get Jake Bobo in there, who had a season-high 27 snaps, and he had the first truly meaningful contributions of his season, I think. Shenault only had the 1 snap, which is interesting, because obviously when he got the 1 snap, he actually caught a ball on a screen pass that was successful. So what that tells you is that, yeah, we're making strides, but the problem is Shenault being in the game is a very obvious tell that he's going to get the ball. If he's on the field for 1 play the whole game, and that 1 play he gets the ball, that's going to start to become a problem, right? Because it's a very clear and obvious tell. So got to do something about that. But these wide receiver splits are pretty much exactly what you would expect. DK and JSN are going to be very close all season, I think, in terms of leading the snap count at receiver. And it's going to go back and forth. They're both going to be somewhere around 85%. And Lockett's going to be closer to like 66%, the 2/3. And that's just going to be the way it is. So, makes sense. Tight end, interesting stuff here. So, Noah Fant leads the way with 51 snaps. He didn't do a ton But it's not like he was making a lot of mistakes out there to my eye. He just wasn't out there. He just wasn't the target for a lot of plays. AJ Barner outstrips Pharaoh Brown, and Pharaoh Brown did not have a good game. He had a penalty, he had a pretty ugly looking drop, and AJ Barner played one of the best games that he's played so far in the NFL. Well, okay. That's not really meaningful though, is it? I mean, he played really well. I don't want to sound like I'm being snarky about it or anything. He played great. He made several plays in the passing game. He caught a touchdown. He was good blocking. AJ Barner, I'm wondering if this keeps up, because Pharaoh Brown was a goat, a negative goat, the bad goat, the goat you don't want to be on Monday night. Does AJ Barner maybe take his spot a little bit? Does AJ Barner start to creep up there and take some of his snaps? More games like that, it will probably happen. And Brady Russell gets 3 snaps. Not particularly meaningful, but not 0 either. Offensive line, this one's interesting, right? Kind of. Cross, Tomlinson, Williams, and Forsyth play the whole game. All 90 snaps, nothing to say there. Anthony Bradford plays 54. Christian Haynes plays 36. That is a meaningful rotation. And I'll tell you, I don't think Haynes looked too bad. Bradford, I don't think he looked terrible. But it's a debate now, right? It's got to be a little bit of a debate. It's not going to be easy for this team to decide what to do from going up forward. Bradford, more talented player, has a little bit more NFL experience, but Haynes seems a little bit more in control. Haynes seems a little bit more ready despite the lack of NFL experience because of how much collegiate experience he had. So this is a decision now. I don't know what it is. Gun to my head, I felt like Haynes was a little bit better last night. But this is where you earn your money as a coach. Do you go with it, or do you just stick with the veteran? Or relatively speaking, veteran. I don't know. But 54-36, that's a pretty meaningful split. Defense, 53 snaps. Normally, that would be a recipe for winning in a blowout. Now, if you watch that game, you know why things went the way they went. It was 53 snaps because we let them score too quickly, and it was too easy for them to just march down the field. Okay? They barely ever got into third down that whole game. They scored 42 points and faced third down 6 times that whole game. So, simply put, this number is misleading, but it's also indicative of some stuff that we can take away in the positive. Okay. Defensive line, Jaron Reed leads the way with 40 snaps. Jonathan Hankins leads the way with 41. So nobody really got pushed that hard in this game, which I guess is a little bit of a silver lining. Nobody had to play like 70 snaps, which it could have easily gone that way, right? But it didn't. Nobody got pushed to the brink here. They're just not good enough to hold up over the course of a full game, no matter what. But at least it wasn't a situation where we had guys playing 70-plus snaps on the line. Miles Adams played 20 snaps, Mike Morris played 10, Bohanna played 7, so it's actually still a pretty fair rotation. This isn't like last year in some of those games where you had guys on the line playing way too many snaps because the defense just couldn't get off the field, and every drive was like a 12-play drive. Granted, the result was not better, but if you're looking for a silver lining right now, maybe that's it. You know, maybe you can find a little something there. Linebacker, Dodson played every snap, all 53. Didn't play very well, if we're being honest. Tyrese Knight played 39, so most of the game, and then Drake Thomas played 9 snaps. So if you combine their snaps, that's almost every play. I think there were a couple plays where we only had one linebacker out there. Pretty much what you would expect with no Jerome Baker. Get well soon, Jerome Baker. Edge rusher. Again, the numbers don't look terrible. Again, we kind of got bailed out because Detroit only ran 53 plays. But Derek Hall, 43 snaps. Draymond Jones, 42 snaps. Bowser, 26 snaps, which is actually more than I thought, but it's still a fair number. That's not unreasonable. And Trevis Gibson, 12 snaps. And he kind of embarrassed himself out there in those 12 snaps, admittedly. But this is not a bad rotation. And I'm sure that if Detroit had run 70 plus plays, like you mostly would in a game where your offense is that effective, yeah, it'd be a different conversation. We probably would be looking at Derek Hall with like almost 60 plays. But if we had to have done that, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because we understand that players are hurt right now and we got to be a little bit creative to get through this. So, at least we got that, right? At least we didn't wear these players out, I don't think. Okay, cornerback, we got Witherspoon at 52 snaps and Woolen at 52 snaps. So they played every snap except for one. So nothing really to say there. Trey Brown plays a little less than half of the snaps. I'm surprised at how little we went nickel in this game, actually. I'm surprised at how little we got our defensive backs on the field overall. 23 is really not that much. And you can see that so far this year, Brown's been on the field slightly more than 55% of the snaps, not very high. I'm a little bit surprised that number isn't higher. Trey Brown didn't have a very notable game. I understand that. He didn't really do much of anything to stand out positively, but a little bit surprised at how little the slot corner, the third corner has been on the field so far this year. Safety, and you can also see why I highlight that, because Julian Love only played about half the game, 29 snaps. Rayshawn got all 53. Kevon Wallace got 12. So it's kind of interesting to note that even though Love missed a lot of this game, Wallace was not necessarily the next man up, right? Kobe Bryant got more snaps than Wallace, which is weird to me. But Kobe Bryant gets 19. Wallace gets 12, like I said. And that'll do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Some stuff to learn. Overall, though, just kind of a weirdly paced game.